if you really step back from the entire culture of social media, right, and just see it as people doing stuff, like almost all of it seems like bragging. Every time I see one of these clips from a parent about what a good job they did with something, I'm like, your kid's crying in this video and the camera's on a tripod. So you did that first. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay, so let's record the intro now.
So what did Milkless? Because I think we start with the name.
Two dads, we love our kids, but then we also need them to know that we're like pretty cool and it's not like a wimpy podcast. So, hey, hey, Milkless.
Hey, welcome. Hey,
Milkless. Call the audience, Milkless. What's up, Milkless? Matt and Max coming at you.
What if that's it? That's our first take.
Something I struggle with business trips or even leisure trips especially is just like this whole thing of like leaving your family to quote recharge, and that weird feeling of like, you know, it's good. We talk about it on the podcast. A lot of the data supports it. Like, you need to be your own person. You know, you got to put the air mask on yourself before you help others.
Bullshit.
So yeah, so like it's good to go and do something fun with your friends and with adults, but then going back to your family, you're more recharged. But then it's like, it feels kind of strange. Like, why do I need to leave my family to come back, you know, to be a better version of myself? So I kind of struggle with that, because it's like, on the one hand, I can say, oh, of course, adults need to have, you know, alone time. Like, you have to really support that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, why do I need to leave my family? But then
I just think I don't even think of it as like recharging my battery, really. I think of it as like, my analogy is cups. I think it's filling a different cup. You just can't do one thing all the time. Even if you don't want to eat pepperoni pizza every day. Yeah, I love my family. They're pepperoni pizza. It tastes so good. Yeah. But God damn it, I eat a lot of pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know. I feel guilty because I know that it's harder on my wife when I'm gone. And I do miss my kids. Like, after the first night, I miss my kids.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's fucked up that I enjoy something other than the life that I live, 98% of the time.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that. I like not thinking about it as like a recharge, because then that feels like my family's sucking the life force out of me.
Well, they are, but like in a nice way. Like,
Yeah, I need to go back to some EV port and plug in. Yeah, it's not like that. It's more just like, I like the pepperoni pizza. I like the different cups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza and cups. One of the things that's, I used to travel a lot for work, and I travel less these days, but it will probably start to crank back up again a little bit. And that's the tricky thing, because I do like it. Mm-hmm. I like traveling. I like hotels. Yeah. I like going and just doing business all day and then eating a good dinner and then having a drink at the hotel bar and going to sleep. It just feels like a fucking respectable day.
Yeah.
But I feel bad. I do feel bad when I'm away for those work trips.
See, weirdly, I don't feel bad at all anytime I'm gone. I feel bad always leading up to it until the minute I leave the house. And then it's like kind of out of sight, out of mind. I don't ever even FaceTime my family when I'm gone.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Interesting.
It just like also it upsets them a little bit. It can.
That's fair. Yeah. It's a weird way to talk to a person. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like, then they're like, Daddy, and it's all sad. And then everybody's sad. They're sad. I'm sad. Mm-hmm. And they're fine, with me not being there. My wife's great at it. And when she's gone, we're fine. Everything's great. So it's like, I know it's going to be great logically. It's just the emotional thing of thinking like, I'm going to put a burden on my wife. And then two, like, I don't know. I just don't like being away from my kids. But then the minute I'm gone,
I love being away from my kids.
I'm back. I'm like, oh, like let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Whether it's, leisure or business, it's like I'm full on, full gas.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it. It's just that anticipation.
I do still, when I go away, like on a leisure trip, like I'll still kind of party like I'm a kid.
Yeah, there's like this TikTok or Instagram reel or something like that of this guy. He's like a famous guy. I can't believe I don't know where he's from, but he's like on some podcast saying like, yeah, these fucking losers with their 40th birthday party. Like, let's go out with just adults. He's like, I love my kids. I want to be with them. And it's like total shame zone. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck this guy. Like, I'm a fucking good dad. Man. And like, he's got like millions of views. All these people like, oh, what a great dad. And it's just like, that's not what we need. Like he's working against the direction we need to go from, like against parental martyrdom. Like we're not talking about go out fucking party every night of the week. It's like, oh, the one time you turn 40, you're not allowed to like go out with adults for a night. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just pissed me off.
Yeah. It's been interesting because, the main way we have to get people to know about the podcast is through social media. And so I haven't really done social media except for this. So my algorithm is just nothing but parent shit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a deep, dark part of the internet. There's high shame. And there's also there's just a lot of people, and this is weird to say because we wrote a book and we're selling a book, but there's a lot of people like making a living doing it and more interested in what works to make a living than probably what might help people. And I think about that all the time with doing this, that like, if we ever start doing that, we got to just like
stop,
jump off a bridge.
If you think about it, like we know that the algorithm works well with when you feel a very strong emotion. So imagine if, and you see this on parenting, internet, whatever, like social media, they shame the shit out of you. Like, oh, are you a fucking horrible parent? Now you got one of three options. Either you make a stand in the comments and possibly get, eviscerated by people, or you just like it and kind of tell yourself like, oh yes, I'm following the Lord's way or whatever, like, yeah, I agree with this guy. Like, I love my kids too. Fuck the 40th birthday party. Like, cause that is for fucking losers. And it's like, I mean, I just can't imagine why parents why someone would stoop that low to like make other parents feel shitty. Like, and there's we know, we're not going to name her by name, but a very big parenting person out there, like, talks a lot about like not shaming kids, but then is always shaming parents. It's like,
you pick fights, Maxie. Pick some fights. I don't know why.
Like when you watch some of this stuff, and it's like, I just don't like the feeling of feeling like a shitty parent when I know that we're crushing it out there, and there's things we can do better, and it's but everyone's human, and like when you consume stuff that makes you feel like shit, it's like, what do? A lot of people just like click like because they're like, yeah, I should be better. And by clicking like, I'm getting a little bit of that being better because I'm agreeing with that I'm a piece of shit. It's just
can I also say one just grumpy old man thing?
Yeah.
Like if you really step back from the entire culture of social media, right, and just see it as people doing stuff, like almost all of it seems like bragging. Every time I see one of these clips from a parent about what a good job they did with something, I'm like, your kid's crying in this video and the camera's on a tripod. So you did that first. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like so much of it's bragging. It just feels like a lot of bragging. And And it's bragging under the guise of like, 3 ways to handle this situation, which is like, I mean, I guess some of that stuff is like kind of useful, but every fucking kid is different and every situation is different. And it mostly just feels like people are saying, here's how good I did it. here's the 3 things I did. Would you like to buy this product? You know what I mean?
There's a lot of that, but for me, what my algorithm or my feed's all about is like, it's just a lot of like parenting experts just like telling you that you're doing it wrong and like giving you some like life pro tip that's going to change your life. And it's like, I just don't like that it makes me feel bad. And, but if you think about it, when you feel bad, you do more reactions. You either comment or you share it out of shame or guilt, or you like it out of shame or guilt.
Yeah.
And the algorithm rewards those people for it.
And the algorithm rolls on. It is amazing. Like as soon as they change that Instagram algorithm, you see the nature of all kinds of posts, including posts about parenting, changing. Because it's like people aren't really making it for people. They're making it for what works. There was, I got to interview this dude who writes for the New Yorker, and he wrote a book about social media. We went to college with him actually, but he talked about how, like, he said in terms of news, what used to be like, they used to use this term, what's fit to print, all the news that's fit to print. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I'll get back around the point here in a minute. But he said that what used to mean, like, fitness used to basically mean that it was a story worth telling and that it was important and that you were able to kind of tell all sides of it. And now the idea of fitness in news is actually, it's more like survival of the fittest. It's a Darwinian thing, like that what news gets put out there is the news that will travel the fastest. And the things that travel the fastest are things that make you scared or make you mad. And I just think the same thing is true about parenting advice. It's this weird thing where, like, once people have a lot of people seeing what they're doing, it turns into a business too. And I think people have trouble handling that very well. And it makes and because of that, it makes you feel bad. Yeah. Right? Because, like, that's what works. Because feeling bad, it makes you scared and angry at the same time.
The thing that's weird is
shame makes you scared and angry at the same time.
Yeah, the thing that's weird is, like, it's not dissimilar from the crazy, like, Jesus freak, like, on the street corner, like, with a sign telling you that you're going to, like, burn in hell, like, eternal damnation shit. But it's just like, that person is, like, obviously crazy for some reason. But then if you put the social media people on the street corner, and some of the shit that they're saying, it's somewhat similar. Like, your kids are going to be whatever, like, just scaring the shit out of you all the time.
Yeah.
Listen to this. And it's like, even if their advice is good, they're using this weird tactic that gets likes and shares.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, babe, we better do this.
It's, it's funny to think about that. Like, because that is not something I think that is unique to, like, the parenting social media and creator world. So it's like, that is also the lens through which we get our health advice, our political news, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all kind of filtered through this algorithm of, like, what gets shared. Okay. Scare people, make them angry. Because I feel that way, that I'm constantly being told that, like, I'm neither taking enough ice baths nor eating enough nuts, nor, like, and then because I'm worried about these things, I'm going to die in a week.
Right. And also, sometimes it's not even malicious. It's just, it is what's interesting. Like, I saw something on Reddit about a guy who was like, yeah, I just narrowly avoided colon cancer at 25. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
He didn't even have to make the assertion. Everyone just made it themselves. Like, shit. All the comments were like, any signs? What, blood in the stool? Family history? Should I be concerned here?
Yeah.
So
it is weird. It's funny because it's like, that shit is interesting and it's hard to, like, look away from that stuff. But also, if you think about the way we were really meant to live, we're not supposed to know about that. We're not supposed to know about anything that's like 1 in a billion chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, I mean, this gets back to our cell phone episode and all that stuff that I'm always talking about. But yeah, I just think It's just a fucking stressful way to get information. And then parenting on top of that, I do think that, like, while I do think of myself as a good dad, I also harbor deep worry that I'm fucking significant things up. So it's an easy place. It's like a soft spot to hit parents, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're all worried that we're not doing it as good as we should. You know, I think I'm a good dad, but I think I'm a good dad for the same reason that I think I'm good at dancing. If you think you are, you're a lot of the way to doing it. Like, then you bring a confidence and a swagger to the whole setup.
Yeah.
You can't walk around feeling like you're a shit dad all the time. That's not going to be a good dad.
You're a very strong dancer. You've always been a good dancer.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, you got moves. You like when you like use your opposite hand to like touch your shoulder. Like
that's what I call it. It's the old opposite hand to touch the shoulder.
or you pull your opposite shoulder shirt off and then do some sort of Michael Jackson move. I know that move.
They were all kind of Michael Jackson moves, weren't they?
You kind of like,
oh god,
draw a square around your torso with your hand, kind of.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Sneaks out there.
Brought to you by Violet Archer.